Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. This is the second episode of a series of how to avoid not voiding your warranty, and that's specifically for the battery warranty. In this episode, we're going to go through improper charging practices, opening of the battery systems, unauthorized repair, or software changes within the system. All of those things will void it, but we're going to explain why. I hope you enjoyed this episode. The next point here is improper charging practices. Now you may be surprised at this point, but let's cover it. Number one, using non-approved charging equipment. Now what's that mean? Non-approved. You may be surprised by this, that if you buy a third-party charger and it's not properly rated for the vehicle, the actual manufacturer can void your warranty based on the charger. This is why you'll find manufacturers like BYD supply a charging cable with the purchase of the vehicle, and manufacturers like Tesla that don't supply it actually allow you to buy it off them. So if you go ahead and buy something, say from AliExpress or Amazon or something like that, that's not really rated for your vehicle, you can potentially void the warranty or give the manufacturer an excuse to void your warranty. So the charging equipment is extremely important, and they will ask that question if you were to make a warranty claim. They'll ask you exactly what chargers do you use, and then they'll look those chargers up to see if they're actually rated well for that particular vehicle. And the second point here is continually DC fast charging your vehicle, especially in hot temperatures. Now, I know other videos have been released by other people which are battery experts, and they say exactly the same thing. If you charge your car to say 80% or 100%, especially 100% on a very, very hot day with extreme temperatures, it will damage your battery, especially when you leave it there. You must drive it, especially at 100%, you must drive it immediately after that on a hot day. Otherwise, it will physically damage your battery, and that is one reason that will void the warranty of your battery, because that's in the terms and conditions of many of these manufacturers. And the other point here that we would raise is poor discharging practices. Now, what does that mean? Well, you look at a discharge, for example, and you discharge your car to say 20% and you charge it to 80%. And this is what's recommended in the public charging network. Now, let's say, for example, that's a good way. Now, let's say, for example, you discharge it to 0% and then you recharge it again, and you discharge it to 0% and you recharge again, and you discharge it again to say maybe 3% and you recharge it again. That's poor discharging practice. That's what it means. And they can detect that when they do a full diagnostic on your battery. They can detect that you've been poorly discharging your battery each time, and that can void your warranty, because the manufacturer, when they give you the EV vehicle, they say these are the best practices for charging your battery, from 20 to 80%, or from 15 to say 60%, or those types of things. It's always got to be kept in the mid-range, and you can't, unfortunately, always discharge your battery. Now, sometimes it's recommended, I know with the BYDs I have, it's recommended every now and then to go under 10% and then charge it to 100%. Maybe every 6 months, they recommend that, but it's not meant to be done regularly. So that's an important point to remember when you're discharging your vehicle. Don't let it go so low that it would lower or degrade the life of the battery, because these batteries are meant to last from 8 to 10 years at the very minimum, which is why they give you that warranty. Here we're talking about do-it-yourself interventions on battery packs. Now, I have seen a previous video where an individual has had a BYD Atto 3 smashed. It's been in a car accident. It hasn't been heavily damaged, but what he ended up doing was pulling out the battery pack, popping it into his garage and filming the process of undoing the battery pack. He started to open these bits and pieces and all this sort of stuff. Imagine if he put it all back together, and it's not easy to put it all back together, but let's say he did, and he put it back into the car, repaired the car, and then made a warranty claim on that battery pack. It's obvious that would void the warranty. And there's also a coolant system within these battery packs. If those coolant systems are improperly handled, and that's by do-it-yourself people that fix things, and they do it themselves. Now, coolant systems, they're used in every single battery pack in every single EV on Earth. Now, what that essentially does is it cools down the systems within the batteries, because when the battery systems are charged or when they are used, they produce heat. Now, electronic systems use the coolant to cool down those battery systems and keep them working in optimal fashion. So do-it-yourself people, start playing with those coolant systems. Of course, when a warranty claim is made on a defective battery, the warranty claim would be rejected because it voids the warranty. Now, this point relates to any repairs or updates performed on the vehicle by non-certified technicians. And what that essentially means is, it could be people like you and me. We want to make a modification or a repair to a vehicle. We end up causing damage to the vehicle and voiding the warranty on the vehicle because of the work that we've done. So essentially what that means is, when we want to repair or update the vehicle, we need to ask the manufacturer. We need to call them and say, this is the modification I want to make on the vehicle, and see if it's approved and if it will void any warranty. You have to make those queries. And repairs on the vehicle. Now, let's say, for example, you have been in an accident and you want to repair the vehicle. You still need to ring the manufacturer and say, this is the repair that's going to happen on the vehicle. Is it approved by relevant certified technicians for working on this particular vehicle? Now, it may seem a bit odd to do that, but this is a catch point. It's basically a gotcha. If you end up repairing the vehicle and need to make a warranty claim for whatever reason, they do have the right, the manufacturer does have the right to say, this is a non-approved repair and we can't accept that warranty claim. As I said earlier, you want to be able to cover all bases. So the best way to do this is to call them and say, this is the repair work that I'm going to do. These are the people that I'm going to use. Will it void my warranty? Ask them directly that question. The other point is of unsupported software and diagnostic tools. Why they quote this is because some of those diagnostic tools can actually cause damage to the vehicle, to the electronic components of the vehicle. And that's a problem for the manufacturers, of course, because they then have to repair that vehicle. And if it's claimed under warranty, you need to be very, very careful that any additional software that you've installed that's non-approved, and a lot of people do this. You can see a lot of videos on how to hack consoles and how to put things in the USB and load them up as APKs and all this sort of stuff within the console. But you've got to be very careful if you're going that route and doing that, because if you do happen to make a warranty claim and they find that software or they find diagnostic tools that are non-approved, that could potentially void your warranty. That was the end of episode 2. I hope you learned something from that episode. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, share this content with someone who'd be interested, or just leave a comment. It really all helps. I do hope to see you in episode 3. Until then, bye for now.